Welcome back. So before breaking the bike for parts, I wanted to see if I could get the engine running without spending any money on it. Obviously, if it runs, then it'll be worth a lot more to sell. So the first issue I came across was the radiator had broken off its bracket, so that's cable tied back on. And then also once it was filled up with water, I seen that it was leaking from where it had been bashed in the crash, or like the join in that pipe. So that's got a cable tie on it, snugged up to try and slow down the leak a bit. And then we moved on to the stator cover. So the previous owner replaced the stator cover, or he supplied a new one with the bike, but it didn't actually have a stator in it. And it also only came with a couple of screws. So basically, I just wanted to get this onto the bike so the oil didn't go everywhere when it started. But obviously, it's not going to be usable on the road like this. But it'll do for the purposes of trying to see if the bike will start. Now, because the bike had sat for a couple of years, obviously the fuel that was inside the tank was pretty old, and it would possibly start with it in there, but I thought I may as well just get that out and get some fresher fuel in there. So the plan here was to siphon the old fuel out into a jerry can. Now, it was a little bit hard to get rid of the fuel because most of the recycling centres won't take it, but I did find somewhere for it to go in the end. And then the next thing was to take some fuel, just a small amount, out of the GSXR. It meant not buying new fuel, and that fuel was just going to sit in that bike until March, April time anyway. So I thought the easiest and cheapest way is probably just to take a couple of litres out of that and then transfer it back into the CBR for the purposes of seeing whether it will start or not. Now, the other thing that was missing from this bike was engine oil. Obviously, I didn't want to pay for 3.5 litres that was just going to get dumped later on, because I don't think you can ship engines with oil still in them. So the solution here was to take the oil out of the GSXR, which is due an oil change anyway. I didn't want it becoming contaminated with other oil that was in the oil catch tank, so I put like a thin sort of dust sheet to kind of catch it before doing the same as what I'd done with the fuel and siphoning the oil into the engine. Now, this took a bit longer than expected because obviously the oil's so thick, and I don't think this little siphon pump is actually meant for anything as thick as old engine oil. So I'd done that, and I then actually realised that the oil capacity on the GSXR is actually pretty low. It's like 2.5 litres versus the 3.5 on the CBR. So I did have some leftover Castrol, it was 5W30 or 5W40 in the garage. So I dumped some of that in just to get it up to the point it was visible on the sight glass, which should be enough at least for getting the engine started safely without causing any damage. Next up was fitting the battery. Now, you're probably starting to see a recurring theme here. The battery is from the the other CBR that's in the garage. So again, I didn't want to buy a new battery just to test it out. So I took the battery out the other bike, made sure it was charged up, and then transferred it into this one. Now it did need to be charged up because it's not got the stator cover, or the stator within the stator cover. It's not actually gonna charge the battery, so it wouldn't be able to run indefinitely. Effectively, it's now basically running a total loss system, but obviously it was just for the purposes of seeing whether I could get the engine to start. And now, with all that said and done, we come to the point of starting the bike. So, key in ignition, and the dashboard is fired up, which is a good start, but no fuel pump. So, slightly disappointing, but probably naive to think that it would start after doing so little work. So back to the drawing board, catch up on the next one where we will hopefully get the bike started. Don't forget to like and subscribe.